And
Yeah.
now it's like it runs down the track at 100 miles an hour. It's like, wow, that's a collaboration, right? I feel like I'm uniquely positioned because I've probably spent almost $1 million in the last 10 years with outsourcing companies, and
Wow. Okay.
so I feel for entrepreneurs that are out there with a great idea, and then they say, I need to find someone to help build it, and I could be a very good coach and help them understand the complexities and the roadblocks they're going to hit in
Cool.
taking that project
So, I mean, are you saying that if, for example, I have like someone who's, not sure about making the move, I could say, well, maybe you want to, talk with Jeff and explain your experience, or is this something you'd be willing to do? I mean, I'm just
Absolutely.
think,
No,
okay,
absolutely. I mean, the reality is if we take a look at the business model in outsourcing, you have an entrepreneur that comes along. I think there's two types of people. An entrepreneur comes along and goes, I've got a great idea. I need you to build something. And you may have an
yeah,
existing IT company that needs some bandwidth. And they say, hey, I need
yeah,
to bring someone on. I mean, there might be some more use cases. I'm not sure. But those seem the obvious ones in front of me. That being
yeah,
said, I fall into the first one. I sold my last company. I had some capital. I had a lot of relationships in the particular vertical I was in. And I said, how can I utilize points of pain they have and build something that could take me to the next level? And I found a sponsor, a company that said, we really need some tools. And I had visited a trade show a couple of times, kept saying this, seeing the same company. And they were very, very due diligence in their sales process and courted me very well. And I ended up coming on board with them. Interestingly enough, this company grew from 200 or 300 resources to 2,000 resources, and it just the amount of what I found in the prior to meeting you guys is you meet entrepreneurs that basically say or outsourcing companies that consistently will just say yes, 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 yes. They don't push back. And if you're an entrepreneur like me, you might not really know. I am not a technologist. I mean, I've been in technology all my life, but I'm not a technologist and at the sense of a technologist. I'm an
yeah,
entrepreneur.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a visionary.
yeah. That's right. Yeah,
So what I found unique with you guys is I found a partner in that the team that I work with challenges my ideas and says, yeah, but this is probably a better way to go. Why don't you rethink that?
mm,
And if you do
yeah,
it like that, it won't be expensive and multi-tenant asset because you're gonna have this and this. So we do it this way, and that is the most refreshing thing in the world to have people that actually are not just looking at me as a customer, like I'm going to a restaurant saying yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
yeah,
They're saying
yeah,
actually you might not want to have dessert first. You might want to
yeah,
start with your salad,
yeah,
okay, and your
yeah,
soup, and then
yeah,
your entree, and then do dessert at the end. And they're not doing that. They're the other companies will just say yes to anything you do, what inevitably leads you down very, very expensive rabbit holes, and the technical debt you incur is so significant that you're really in this never-ending treadmill of spending money to try to get back to where you need to be. Case in point for me, the first company I worked with for about a year and a half, 2 years, we spent probably $300,000, and the objective was to have a multi-tenant platform. And at the end of the day, we had a house of cards, very unstable, that would absolutely be impossible to board a second client onto. It was basically an application for one client, and it was just it was a deck of cards. So I just find it interesting with you and the documentation and the complete Scrum methodology we work with. I didn't even know what Scrum was till you guys really. I mean, I'd read about it, but all of a sudden you guys were like teaching me. We have to do a reflection call, and here we're doing our stand up, and here we're and I have to review everybody once a quarter, and it's just so structured that it's like you're forcing me to be a technologist. It's like
Well,
I'm
yeah,
paying
someone
you
has
to,
to be someone has to be on the
right,
client side,
you're like,
right?
listen,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not just a customer. It's like, no, you're part of the team, and let's
yeah,
get you on board. This is how we do these calls, and this is how we
yeah,
do this, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I consult with a very large technology company in the grocery industry, and they started the Scrum methodology about a year ago, and it was funny because I all of a sudden was like a guru to them. Because I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, you know what that is? Like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while now. This is the way to go. And you get your
that's
sprint, and we'll do
cool.
this, and what's your
Yeah,
roadmap
yeah,
look like? And I'm like, yeah, we've been following this at the highest level of integrity in the process, and that's just something that really, I think, as an entrepreneur, you really need. The other thing that I find
yeah.
interesting, and no one ever talks about, and this is where if I was consulting, is that no one ever talks about support. I want,
In what in what sense?
the team that comes along, the entrepreneur that comes along and says, "Hey, I've got a large technology company, and I need you to build something for me." That's
Yeah,
fine because you can hand it off to them and they can support what you built.
yeah.
But that other kind of entrepreneur that comes to you and says, "I have an idea," no one talks about who's going to support this, how's it documented, and that's where a lot of these outsourcing companies really have, I call the golden handcuffs, because you're forced to stay with a company that can be inferior with code that's not documented, that's spaghetti code that someone jumps into, and you literally have this environment that it's not sustainable. Now, with what we've done with Arcanys is we have a documented stack that we could take anywhere. But quite honestly, to me, I just put into my budget having you like your staff. And what's wonderful is as I'm working with clients, you have my email extension. So uh, my clients think you guys are me. They'll look
Right.
at different
Yeah.
people as they
I mean,
respond,
because
and they're like, "Oh, this is your team." And so it's
yeah,
like this is
because
just
it is your team.
it
It
is.
is your team.
And the
Okay.
other thing is attrition. I mean, I'm in both. I think I've run into some entrepreneurs that have outsourced, and they say the same thing when you go long term. The amount of attrition that exists, and boy, you just get. I mean, the level of talent that you find out there in the outsourcing world can be so
Yeah.
varied, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of a
That's
sudden,
right.
you
Yeah.
have a project manager that seems to know what's going on. The language you finally figured out, so it's not a barrier, and sometimes it very, very, very much is. And then that person moves on because he found a better paycheck somewhere else. And then you
Yeah.
get someone new, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've
Yeah.
been with you for over 2 years now, and we've not had any attrition at all. The same team. And it's like we're
Yeah.
family. I mean, I literally feel like we're family. I want to send birthday cards,
Yeah,
and
but
that's
that's
just,
awesome. That's what we want for you to feel like. I mean, you trusted us, right, with your project at first, and we told you that we'd build a team for you, and so I believe what you're saying is that we did, and because you built something with a team that, I mean, was with you from the start of the project, you of course want to keep them for as long as possible because they have all the knowledge with them. And so our job as your partner is to make sure that these guys stay, I mean, with you for as long as possible with the right skills, the right mindset, I mean, all that you're paying us for, basically. And we can't exclude that someone is going to leave at some point, but our job is to make sure that they stay for as long as we can keep them. And so it means good compensation, good progression. I mean, good growth in their jobs with learnings, and I mean, taking care of them in terms of the healthcare, the family healthcare as well, and I don't know, gym memberships and food and the community actually. Yeah,
your business model is very unique in that it seems like just in talking to Alan and stuff, it's like you really kind of cherry pick who you want to work with. And I've
yeah,
actually referred someone. I referred someone over to you that was needing a technologist, and Alan told me, "Thank you so much, but it wasn't a good fit."
yeah,
And I think that really is neat for you to be able to have the be in a position where you're not desperate for business and you're handpicking who you want to work with that's going to fit your business model, because your business model is
Yeah.
not the same as many outsourcing companies. They are just dollar bill, sign them up, keep them paying money. And
Yeah.
that's not the way you guys operate. You look at the project, you look at what the objective of the company is. And it's almost like we had to audition for you to find out if we
Well,
could
yeah, I mean,
make
it
the
goes
cut.
both ways, right? But yeah, but it's a mistake we were making at the beginning when we started like 12 years ago, right? We just tried to get business and stuff, and then we had some failures. And so we refined the way we would start collaborating with clients and things like that until we made sure that, I mean, the client was happy to work with us and that we were happy to stay with the client as well. And I think it's, it just helps us be better with the clients we chose to work with, and it helps us being a better company for whoever we're going to work with in the future. So you're right. I mean,
That's
thanks for
key plus.
noticing that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do remember we had a project manager it was already told to us this is a temporary project manager, and we would be moving someone in. And about 6 months later, we moved Geraldine in. And I've been in management most of my life, and watching the process for that transition was so wonderful. I mean, they shadowed each other for like a month. It's like, wow, like it wasn't like, here you go, good luck. It was like, no, like it was the transition was seamless. I mean, when Geraldine jumped on, she was completely 100%, like she was already part of the team because she'd been on so many calls. And whoever's orchestrating that type of management really has their act together, because that's when you're trusting somebody with your vision and your roadmap and making sure things get delivered right and documented right, you can't have the friction that happens when natural things happen. And I just was so impressed by the time we said bye to the temporary project manager Geraldine, it was hugs and kisses. But I'm like, man, get in the seat, Geraldine. I'm psyched to have you on board. Like it was like so it's fun because life is mundane. You got to go through life, and I look so forward to our stand-up calls. So I get to chat with my friends, and we get to find out what we're doing in our
So that's
project, and it's not just, it's like a relationship. It's not just
yeah.
purely business, and that's
Well,
just wonderful.
I think you're so lucky. I mean, I've worked with Geraldine because she was handling all my marketing efforts in terms of like managing the website and the devs and stuff. And I mean, I mean, I love working with Geraldine. She's super switched on. So I think you also really get I mean, she's lovely to work with. So yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And the responsiveness I have, I mean, because of the hour changes, I think the most important thing for anybody taking on outsourcing is communication. And I can't
yeah,
stress that enough, because, I'm not picking at any particular dialect or any particular country, but I can tell you the amount of effort spent on simply saying, the world date format as an example is
yeah.
one way, and the US does it another way.
That's
And
true. Yeah,
you say that, and then all of a sudden, a month later, another place where a date comes up, it's wrong. I'm like, guys, we've covered this 100 times. And then it takes 4 or 5 phone calls to get it corrected. I'm like just because it's not anything on them, it's just they just don't understand the language.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're and that with you and your team, everything is so clear. And I'll have one of the team members write a response to something that I might need, and they send me a documented email worded perfectly in perfect English. I mean, it's not like, there's no language barrier. It's like we're in the same town
yeah,
chatting every day.
yeah.
And
I mean,
most companies, unfortunately, you don't get that,
well,
and that's the problem.
yeah, well, but in the Philippines, right? I mean, we already have less of a language issue than in other countries. And the second thing is, because we're in Cebu, I think the English level is even better than if it were in Manila. I think we're just in the right place for at least the English communication. And of course, then there's the training of the guys. We do what we call these cultural trainings as well. So I mean, teach our guys to be communicating effectively with Western clients, because that's the most type of clients we have, like almost exclusively Western clients from the US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. And so we have to train our guys to understand how they have to communicate with the client.
What I think is just brilliant, and you don't see it enough in the U.S. is egos. And I've worked for some pretty big teams in the U.S. in my past, and you get everyone's claiming their turf, and they got egos. And when I watch the way they share ideas, they review code together, they're all just like they're just there's no ego about it. It's like they're more than happy to say, yeah, we reviewed it with one of the teammates, and he made a suggestion, so I'm gonna make that modification. I think it's a better way to go. And I don't know if we're just egotistical over here, but no one would be that humble to go, yeah, he had a better idea than me. Like everything, no, my idea is the best. And it's like it's like they're all on the same page as let's make this the best we can.
Yeah.
And that's the objective, not make me look better than you. And that's just, it's your culture. I don't know, but it's refreshing. It's just refreshing.
I think it's a bit of both, like the culture. I mean, in the Philippines, it's like they are working in groups, right? It's like this group kind of culture. But also in the company, we're a flat organization, so no one's like someone's boss. So you can't become someone's boss by just being better. It's about you being technically good, and you are being evaluated on your technical knowledge. So I don't think there's any incentive for them to steal from each other. At least we try to really be careful about that and make sure that we're not entering a political type of company. So that it fosters like collaboration and sharing of ideas, and no finger pointing and things like that. We just try to improve whatever we're doing with each other. So yeah.
I also like the fact that we have like people like Eric that we can bring on into calls and conversations into our roadmap and say we're planning on doing this, and let's reach out to Eric and get his feedback, and bring in some senior people to just basically give feedback and challenge the team, and it's like you really have everything in one little box over there. I mean, because with your designers like Ken, it's just like his UI stuff he's doing. It's just UX. It's just phenomenal,
Yeah.
And I'll be on a call saying, guys, can't we put a button there? And I'll have the team go, no, you're going to completely deviate from the design. Like, oh yeah, you're right. And it's like you need consistency. You need it like this, and you go back to Microsoft, and everything just sort of, regardless which application you're in, the cut paste and everything else is all the same. And as an entrepreneur, sometimes we just go on it. Oh, but do this, and like in previous companies, they go, okay, we'll put that big button over there, and no one says anything. And you guys, your team's like, if you want it, we can, but here's why you wouldn't want to do it, and you want to stay consistent. I really think it's a bad idea. And I just go, thank God someone's challenging me. I love someone. And they're not just saying no, they're saying, here's why you wouldn't want to do it. And that's what you don't get that. And a lot of these outsourcing companies just treat you like you are the boss, and whatever you say we'll do, and we don't challenge you. And like, I'm like, I begged for both companies prior to you, challenge me. And they just, their culture didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was yes.
We also do this because you don't have a CTO on your end, right? Because if you had the CTO on your end, he would be playing that role with you. You would have these discussions, and then he would tell the guys to do things, and then so they would do it. And in your case, because you have Eric, the senior architect, and then Ken, our senior designer, they both have like Ken has probably almost 20 years of experience, and then Eric has more than 20 years of experience as a developer and then a senior architect. Then they can do that. I mean, they're paid to actually do this on your project. So that's, the reason why they're there is to actually make sure to guarantee that your project is not going to go in the wrong direction, and that, they keep the contact with you to make sure that everything you, as a business guy, everything you ask is being considered, thought about, and then smartly implemented if it really makes sense for the business to implement it after review.
I feel for entrepreneurs that are on the journey right now of trying to find a company, because
Yeah.
frequently you might just go, who's the cheapest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually became good friends with the second company I was with, the project manager in the US. And he off the cuff would talk to me and say, let me explain to you how our bench works and the kind of people we have on our bench. And to my surprise, many people that were on the team, and I had a team with 8 people, 8 developers, many of them had just 2 years worth of development time, just two
Wow.
years.
Okay.
And you go, you don't know. They pay them minimal money. It was just a complete numbers game, and you're getting these guys jumping into your source code.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
your mission critical stuff that you might have 100 employees, in the U.S. working on every day, and they're going, it's not working, and because it's not documented, and someone that just didn't have the experience put one little bit of code in there that all of a sudden has everyone scrambling trying to figure what happened. This is scary. I mean, I'm about quality of life and wowing people, not all of a sudden going, holy cow, the building's on fire. And this is important, and that's what you guys have really given me the peace of mind. And we've had an issue. We had an issue, right? And this issue is, hey, in our platform, it's designed for reps in the field, and they can communicate with their ERP platform, and it's got metrics to follow them and GPS stuff to check into locations they visit and stuff like that. And every time there's been a problem, and they're like, hey, I can't check in, it's not working. And I'm like, guys, we just released this module, it's not quite working. It's the location in their ERP is incorrect. And they're more than 500 meters away, which is our criteria for a check-in. And now we've taught them how to check it, and they're updating their ERP platform because their addresses are all off. And it's like, it's not us. It's like, guys, the software's, don't ever send me this that we have a problem. You go into your ERP, get on Google and see why it's coming up wrong. It's showing you across the street. And it's reassuring. Like, I'm like, I'm not apologizing. It's like virtually every time we have an issue, oh yeah, you messed up on your export and you put a little carrot there now, and we didn't mean to, and we didn't expect it. And the software is rock solid. Okay. If you change the criteria and don't tell us, yeah, things are going to happen. But that doesn't affect the quality of our platform. My past was I go, oh crap, what'd you guys do? Every time it's like, oh, we don't know. And it was us. And it's just peace of mind to just say, let's go build the vision. Let's go bring new customers on. Let's do what the purpose of this project is. And it's not to be putting out fires because we don't have integrity in the coders. My objective with both builds with the last 2 companies was build this ERP product so it'd be a multi-tenant platform. That was the criteria.
Yeah. I remember when we first had the call. Yeah.
One deck that we can bring on thousands of customers. I want to compete with HubSpot, with Salesforce. I want to be one of those companies. And we now have that. We have a platform right now that's a multi-tenant platform that's rock solid, that's not a custom deck for one company that can literally board hundreds and hundreds of companies.
Yeah.
And I spent 7 years with 2 companies and at least $750,000 with those 2 companies and have nothing but vaporware, just dust.
Wow.
Right. And so it's like, but I'll tell you what, college is expensive. And that was my college.
Wow.
I basically learned how not to develop.
True. Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I got a master's degree in how not to do it. And that's called being an entrepreneur.
Right. So with that in mind, can you tell us a little bit about the team composition that you have now at Arcanys? So you mentioned that you had Eric and Ken that are working, I think, part-time on your project, but how many devs do you have, and do you have QAs and stuff?
So we have right now we have three developers, and then we have a QA guy that's testing everything, and then we have Geraldine, our project manager, and that's the limit of the team. We're talking about bringing on one more developer right now to speed up something we're working on. And it's just a matter right now of finishing one project to take that on, and So that's what we have right now, and we've had them for over 2 years, I believe.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not sure
yeah,
when we
yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Well, yeah,
I honestly
well
don't.
before
I
before
don't see this
COVID.
relationship ever ending because
Well, I'm
I don't
glad to
want to
hear
get
that.
I don't want to get into the management business. I want to be. I'm a sales guy. I want to sell this stuff
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
have you
yeah,
support it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's right where we are right now. And there's just no reason to change. It's
yeah,
a very good model we have because entrepreneurs
yeah,
want to go. They want to basically go and create stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you on the other side or the back end of that, creating it and supporting it
That's right.
and
Yeah,
making
I
sure
mean
that the
that's
entrepreneur
exactly it.
stays on
Yeah,
track.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's 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 a I feel for I really do. I feel I see I worked in an incubator environment for a year and a half with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I had my office there, and
hmm
I had a little team of 2 employees over there, and I'm the older guy. Okay, I'm 50 something, and I had a lot of these young entrepreneurs come to me, and they would say, "Hey, I was featured in a magazine on the west coast of Florida." On the front page, people to watch. So kind of good ego boost for sure. But it
Mm.
created an environment where I was Papa in the building, and a lot of these guys would come with ideas. And I love hearing all these entrepreneurs, but a lot of them that's the world that people are in. They want to build something, and they don't think it out, and they don't think beyond. I really want to build this widget, and there's so much more to it. It's like, who's going to support it? How's it going to work? Do you have the expertise to even understand working in this Scrum environment and looking at a roadmap and doing the evaluations? And a lot of these companies they can just walk into, and some people will just go online and try to find a developer, and then that guy's got the handcuffs on you because he literally you can never he basically controls your bank account. And then if you go to a company, you have no idea about the quality of the people you get, and then you have no exit strategy. And what you've done is you've literally made an environment where even if I bring on my own devs over here, they can work in tandem. It's just I have so many ways to work this because of what you've created, and I just don't. We interviewed 3 companies before finding you, and
So
it
yeah,
was hands down we wanted to work with you. You hit all the criteria. I now knew what I was looking for.
how did you find us? I mean, yeah, how did you find us? And so because you found us because you weren't happy with the current, I mean, the second company, if I understand well, that you were working with, and then so like did you Google us or what's the yeah
I brought in a CTO. I'd known him for years. He really wasn't a CTO, but he was a developer, and a very well read individual. And we went down and we spent I don't know $30,000 with a company in Chicago to prove out our model and help us with some management. And they pointed us to 2 teams they work with in Argentina and somewhere else. And we started looking at the criteria with that team. We respected these guys. They built some pretty large things. This consulting company, and they kind of gave us a criteria list of what to look for and why they were recommending these 2 development companies. And from looking at that, we ended up finding you through research through Google. And my CTO goes, "Hey, yeah, these guys here, but this company here is also really promising." And we ended up having dialogue with you. And
yeah
once we had the initial phone calls, I was instantly intrigued by your business model. I'm like, this is you're different. The way you spoke was different. It wasn't just your typical sign up and get on the treadmill. It was more like,
yeah
and that's what I've been looking for a relationship with someone that could be. I call you a partner in
yeah
every respect of that because you challenge what I'm saying. You challenge us, and that's what we needed. And
yeah
the other companies were more like, "What do you want? We'll build it." Well, I'm not an architect. I can't build a house. I don't understand engineering.
yeah yeah yeah
Okay,
yeah yeah
I
yeah
know I want a pool on the second floor. Can you figure that out? Okay, I'm not going to tell you how to support it. Whereas
yeah
in your environment, they're like, "Well, if you're going to put a pool on the second floor, we got to do this and this and this and this. And if you want more than one tenant, then you got to be doing this and this and this and this.
yeah yeah
And
yeah
we got to document it like this and this and this." And that was the kind of stuff I couldn't find anywhere else.
okay
And that's where these entrepreneurs out here trying, they've got to be thinking about like just the simple word documentation. It's so vital. I mean, it doesn't seem important to an entrepreneur. You know, you're an A-type personality. You're like, let's just go build it. You got to stop and slow down and go, hey, are they going to document your code right? I mean, it's kind of boring, but if it's not documented,
it has to be done.
How's someone ever going to jump?
It has to be done.
It has to. And
it
costs a little bit of money to do that, but you want something sustainable that you can grow with, and you have to have that. Now it's funny because we ended up pulling the CTO that I had was adamant on this particular database engine that we ended up moving away from.
That's true. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We had Eric on the phone. We had our team on the phone. We debated it. June, we analyzed. You guys helped me analyze costs and pro formas going forward, and together we made the decision to do this. And for the last,
I think it was delaying the project. Was it not delaying the project? And we weren't able to get, because it was from another provider, and we weren't able to get the answers we wanted. Was it that? Because I followed the projects, not really close by, but I remember there were some problems.
Yeah, we went to this offline first database engine that my CTO picked, and what ended up happening is the cost per client made it that basically I was an employee for this company. I mean, there's no way to be able to generate profit when you're paying this kind of money annually for their engine. And the engine was very unique, had many complexities to it. I mean, it's really the whole platform was really designed for an offline first environment, and we don't need that. We're not driving cars, down the road. We needed something that's more robust, more cost effective, so the cost of running the business could be minimal, so we get a profit. And so this model was such that it was I think $6,000 per client per year, just to have an engine that was not robust. And our team, we paid for them to get trained on it. They were able to make it work. Infinite scroll and stuff would not work right, and they're like, oh yeah, they haven't got a bug fix for that yet. And finally, we had the best minds you guys have help us pick the best way to go, the most cost effective, most robust, and we're almost finished with it. And I'm really, what was interesting though is we basically rebuilt the back end, and watching the logic, they didn't just go, we're rebuilding it. We're like, what did we learn from the first one? How can we make it better? 2.0. And it's like that's just kind of cool. Like, remember, we couldn't do that, now we can. And so it's I literally am working, this whole Zoom mentality now with COVID and stuff. We're all working from home no matter what, right? Well, I feel you guys you're all my neighbors, and we're just do this every day.
So my next question was like, how often do you chat with them? Like, do you talk to the whole team every day, or how's because the first thing we need to say also is you're in Florida, so that's you're 12 or 13 hours apart from the team. So how does this work? Because it's kind of unusual that we work with half of the time. I mean, more than 8 hours time difference. So how does it work? Can you tell me?
It works wonderful. So we have a stand up every single day, or 5 days a week. So Sunday, it's based on we have the time change here. So based on what time of the year, it could be 9 o'clock or 10 p.m. Our stand ups typically last 10 minutes to 15 minutes. So I'm doing it Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when we finish a sprint, our sprints can last up to 3 weeks. We're not religious on the 2 weeks right now because of what we're doing, but typically it's 2 weeks. And then we'll do a demo, and the demos when they'll basically review everything they've done.
Yeah.
In that sprint. Every night when we do our thing, we're going through Jira and going through the ticket numbers and what they've done, what they've completed, what's been tested. And I really love the testing part because they'll point out that wasn't quite working. Like, I'm not finding it, they're finding it. And by the way, that's unique also, because the way I used to find out is it went live and people started complaining.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was
that's
my
not the right way to find it. Yeah, yeah,
no, that's not the right way. So
yeah,
here
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
nope, that's not quite working. It's delay on that. We can speed it up. So that's this harmonious. And then we have a couple other calls that we'll have during the sprint process. We'll be looking at the roadmap, deciding what's going to go out. So we want to look 2 or 3 sprints back. So, okay,
Yeah,
what's going to go into the sprint coming up? What's the sprint after that? So they can start lining things up. And then if we need to be able to utilize your designer, Ken. We want to have that
yeah,
stuff done at least a
yeah,
sprint and a half up front. So we're not waiting. It's all about efficiency, right? So like you guys are training me on this. So, we want to have the design stuff all done, a sprint, at least one sprint in front of the sprint. So
that's true.
if we're 2
Yeah,
sprints back, we work on design. So that's done. The guys want to look over the mountain there and glance at it. They got to know what's coming up, just to get their brains conditioned for it, and away we go. So it's 5 days a week, and it's just very, very efficient. And I have some technologists that I'll have them sitting next to me. They're like, I love your team. Those guys are really smart. How'd you find those guys? They're freaking brilliant there. Yeah.
on
So
Google.
it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's
fun.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind
yeah,
of fun to brag.
yeah. And so, how does it? I mean, collaborating with us impact your business? I mean, like, or yeah, it allows you to sell more, to be more free because you trust the team, or what's the yeah? What do you gain most besides the fact that we can actually build software, but which should be a given, but the rest of the collaboration, what does it help you to do?
Well, it's really, really important just for in sales. And I mean, I guess it depends on the kind of person, but for me, integrity is everything. So I'm
Yeah,
not
I
going to
agree.
sell you something to get your money. I have to sell you something that I believe in. If I don't believe in it, I'm
Yeah,
not going to sell
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay, I don't
yeah,
need the money. So it's helped me have the confidence to go to large companies and say, look at this amazing product. Okay, look at the team we have. Look at the kind of infrastructure we have, and I can do that working on my living room
yeah,
because of
yeah.
you. So
Okay,
that
because yeah, yeah,
in the past I had to be everything. I was, I mean, so I can, if there's an issue, I can fire off an email 24/7 or use Slack and put it out on our board and get a response usually within 4 hours, regardless of the time, because everybody pops up and looks around and get response detailed and be able to get answers. And that's it makes it just so you can build a complete company around this kind of partnership.
yeah.
I,
Oh,
I, I
yeah,
view
agree.
I
Yeah,
view we're all working together as one company, and I happen to be the sales guy.
yeah, yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
VP of sales.
yeah,
Okay, I may have a CEO title, but I'm the VP of sales, and I can bring on customers. And the confidence that you have when we're in the process of boarding that company right now that does around 600 million a year, and when they bring their team on board for calls, and we have June on there,
yeah,
they're literally we'll do a 10-minute call deep dive, and they spend 10 more minutes asking questions of what he thinks of this, what he thinks. Like they're interviewing. I'm like, look, guys, you can't do this to my guys. Okay, you want to pay by the hour to talk to him? He's not your consultant. But they're
yeah,
literally going, oh, what do you think of that? She's like, just boom, boom, boom. I mean, he has all the answers. Like, and they're like, they instantly went and said, you guys have your act together. Like frequently in the past, be like, okay, this is going to be a deck of cards, and just a phone call with a high-end IT team with these SAP developers that are part of their team. They got some pretty deep pockets over there. They're
yeah.
like yeah, this company knows what they're doing, and that's that.
That's great to
I don't
hear.
need
Yeah,
you. I don't need to say a damn thing other than let me introduce some of my team, and
that's
and the
cool. Yeah,
confidence to do
yeah,
that makes you willing
yeah,
to take on anybody. It's not
yeah,
like, hey, I wonder if they'll give me some money, and then they're stuck in my relationship. I'm like, no, we don't need you. We can help you. Look at
yeah,
our team,
yeah,
and that just
yeah.
that kind of confidence is I'm
Well,
blessed. I really am.
well, I'm really glad to hear that. Like every time I hear something like that, I'm super happy because, I mean, I guess we've managed to do what we said would do when we started discussing. I remember the first call I had with, I think we were three in the call, and yeah, so that's cool. Another question: do you think you would have been able to do the same thing with like a team of in-house developers? What's your take on that?
There's no way. There's no way for a variety of reasons. First of all, if you don't have the experience in hiring and managing, okay,
Mm.
you're really, I mean, you need to bring on the right CTO that can bring on the right team,
That's true.
right? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
okay, and they've got to have the discipline and management and being able to build the right team and
Yeah.
follow, the methodology of Scrum exactly the way it needs to be to pull it off. And then we have the incredible amount of costs involved. Okay. And
Yeah.
then nothing wrong with the US. Uh, they're constantly being recruited and bombarded by recruiters. So to maintain an integrity team is challenging for a startup.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if we're an established company, we've got great stock options and we can play the game and you can put the golden handcuffs on your guys, that's great. But as a
Yeah.
startup, you're constantly looking at cash flow and you're really at the mercy of the team. And I've met some really strong developers, and they find themselves better being outsourcing and doing projects than working for a company. They'd rather
Yeah.
jump around and go
Yeah.
make as much as they can per movie and go do that
That's
one, that
true.
one, that one.
Yeah.
And that's a better model for them. They have the freedom. And that's kind of the US. Here, we have some folks that you put together that are more than happy part of a team, that are delighted in seeing a project continue to grow.
Yeah.
And it's like my company's adopted your culture. Like I'm following your culture and I'm in it. And I
Cool.
feel like I'm really an extension of your company. And that's what's kind of fun. It's like,
That's well, usually it should be the other way around, but okay, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
no, because
Okay.
once again, my objective is simply, I love building things and I love seeing people benefit from the ideas.
Yeah.
That my sort process, money always comes if you do a good job. My
Yeah.
sort
Agree.
process
Yeah.
is, can we look down on the ground and say, hey, there's clearly a problem with these things not linking together, and can we fix that problem? And if you make that solution, there's a benefit to the person that needs the benefit. So we
Yeah.
found a
Yeah.
clear solution where these ERP platforms that are so big and heavy take development teams to run reports and give data to people that need mission critical data. Now we have a simple universal desktop app, however you want to access it, that regardless of where you are or how you want to do it, you can get the data you need to do your job more effectively. And managers can now manage their team with metrics that they can see that are so robust that the solution is wonderful. When people see what we built, when I get to go to trade shows, which I'm actually going to one this weekend in Las Vegas, and I get to meet with these CEOs, they are blown away by what we have. They
Oh,
like,
really? Wow.
we did not know this existed. This is not a CRM product. I mean, this product is so robust. They're like, you've literally taken all the key components with following my team, with following how they prospect, with digital assets and giving them the tools they need that we can follow which ones work the best, all in one environment. So it's like we feel so proud that this vision, through the feedback of our customers, by asking them lots of questions, we can then put this on in paper, get with the team, figure out how we're going to make it work, and we've
Yeah.
literally built something from feedback of people that use the product. And when I do this, and I love doing this, I remember when I went to the first company, I reached out to them with a presentation I did in PowerPoint. I said, it's going to cost this much money. And the owner had 9 suits there. And he said, and then I went to the next page, and it's this much per year. It's a SaaS model. And he goes, I'm not paying that. I said, well, respectfully, we're not going to do this. And he got quiet, and all the suits were like, and he finally goes, whoever speaks next, loses, right? And I didn't say anything. I said, no thanks, but thanks. And he goes, fine, you can do it. But my point is that I said, in order to do this, I want to spend at least a week and a half to 2 weeks in the field with your reps. And they said, you don't
Yeah.
need to do that. I said, I'm not going to build it then. I said, what do you mean? We will tell you what you need. I said, yeah, I want to hear what you need, but I also want to go to the field and hear what they need, because they're going to tell me things that you don't even know. And you know
Yeah.
what they
Of
did?
course. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
I'm
gave
sure.
me,
Yeah.
and when
Yeah.
I came back to management, I said, by the way, they really need this. Like, they do? Like, yeah, they all need that. And so we built this vision of this product, our third time now with you, that's the most refined version of those needs. And finally, in a capacity that could be multi-tenant, that literally the only thing limiting us right now is marketing and sales. That's our limit. So that's really where we are today.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So maybe I shouldn't be taking too much of your time since you're the guy who's being limited in the marketing and sales. And yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add anything. I mean, you've said so many nice things. I mean, thank you, thank you. You know what? I'm so happy you're so happy. Like that's I think that's I was thinking during the interview that I'm gonna tell Alan, look, you're gonna listen to the interview I had with Jeff because I mean I think it will make him happy as well. Yeah, it's awesome.
But, and that's what life's all about, being happy. I'm really selfish. I really like to be happy. You guys cause me no stress, and it just makes me proud. I mean, I feel like I'm delivering. I've got a little baby that's growing into be a rocket scientist, and it's like this software is just so beautiful. It's like art, and it's like I show it to you constantly. It's like it's just so stable. It always works. It's like damn, like yeah, it's like holy crap. This was the
Cool,
vision,
cool, cool.
and
Yeah,
now it's like it runs down the track at 100 miles an hour. It's like wow, that's a collaboration, right? The the
yeah,
uh, the what's the guy's
yeah,
name? Steve Jobs. He wasn't a coder, but he found people. And I remember he said
yeah.
that it's not about finding coders, it's about finding artists.
That's true. Yeah.
And I feel like you guys are artists. And I just got the
Who
vision.
code? But yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Well, it was a lot more than I expected. So thanks a lot.
If
Thanks
you
a
ever
lot.
need me to
Yeah.
talk to somebody on the fence,
Yeah.
you just set it up. You'll tell I'll sell them.
Sure,
And
sure. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. You even,
I'll,
you know what?
I'll scare the piss out of them. Okay, I'll scare the piss out of them and make them go. Because I'll just say, hey,
Yeah.
look, I'll walk you through my world. And how much money you have to burn, how much time you have to burn. Because you can
I
make some
think
big mistakes real fast.
listening to you, I think I'm gonna try to work with this company called Arcanys. They really seem really nice. I think you sold me our company. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
No, but use me, use
Yeah.
me, use me anytime. You guys have been more than gracious.